Welcome back to another Market Movers tutorial video. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot. And are you still keeping track of your sports card prices in a spreadsheet, manually, tediously updating the prices by spot checking them on eBay every month, 2 months, 6 months? Never. Only to find out that you've missed critical selling windows? Stop. My collection just saved your life. All right, so this week I'm really excited to talk to you about my collection, arguably one of the most powerful components of Market Movers and a feature of our pro membership level. My collection is basically a portfolio management tool which continues to evolve, improve, and add new features all the time. Let's actually just go right into my collection and I'll walk you through every part of it so that there's no question left unturned. So in order to get to my collection, you just come over here and find the collection icon, click on my collection. And right away you can see there's a lot of data on the screen, a lot of different things to look at. So again, I'm just going to take you step by step through each piece of this so that you can become familiar with exactly how my collection works and what it offers. The first thing you see here is this stats box. This part of the screen is actually your owned portfolio, your owned collection. And what you can see here is the number of cards owned, the total value of those cards, so that's the gross value. The number of cards without price paid is basically if you put in a card and you can't remember the price that you paid, this is a way for you to keep track of basically your portfolio value net of those cards, since they might be kind of hyperinflating the value of your collection. You can always go back and put them in later. If you need to go back and let's say you've got a stack of cards sitting next to you, you quick put them in. You can always go back later and check wherever you bought them, your receipts, your eBay sales, whatever, or purchases, and add that in later. But this is a way to kind of keep track of that. You'll see total paid. This is how much you paid for all the cards. Net value is obviously just the total value owned less what you paid for them. And here's the net value. And then these charts, which we recently launched, charts to be able to track the total value and the net value. You can expand the value of these charts or the view of these charts by clicking on them. And you'll see this just shows you a day by day, trending analysis of your total value and your net value. You can change this by date range, just like popular card charts. You can say, I only want to see the last 7 days. You can start the chart at the low value or at $0. You can track only the net value or only the total value. So there's a lot of flexibility in here. That's how the chart works on the owned portion of the screen. The next thing you'll see is we have two different types of data being displayed down here in the actual details of the cards that you own. So if I scroll down, what you'll see is popular cards, which are denoted by this little icon, and manual cards. And if you go back to the popular card chart video that I did a few weeks back, that's where I kind of explain the difference between a popular card in Market Movers and a manual card. And essentially the difference is popular cards, we've added formally to Market Movers. We're tracking those prices daily, and those prices are going to automatically update and reflect in this last average sale column here in your My Collection portfolio. Manual cards will not update automatically. There is, however, a very easy way to check those, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. So you can check the price and update it on the fly. Much easier, trust me, much easier than using a spreadsheet. So one of the important things here is that right now what you're seeing is what I would call the header level detail of each of these cards. And by header level, I mean the description of the card and the date purchased, the average paid per card, the total paid. You're kind of seeing a roll-up summary here of every card. Now, what you'll see here down here is on this Hank Aaron card, you'll see it says multiple for date purchase and number owned 2. And what it's doing is it's actually averaging out the amount paid. So if I click this little caret icon to expand this data, now you can see that I have 2 cards actually that I purchased, each for 5 cents, all the way back in 1983. And those cards are now worth 25 bucks, a piece. The total value is 50. It's showing my net value and the net value as a percentage of those original sales. So header level is this top row, and it's going to show you all of the data rolled up. The transaction level is this level below it, and you can see that here. Now, if I come up here to popular card charts, one thing that you'll notice, these say manual card. Popular card charts do not say popular card. Instead, they have this little chart icon. And if you click on that, it's going to give you a really nice summary of what this card's been doing over the last 7, 30, and 90 days. in terms of price as well as sales volume. Now, another really cool feature on this stats box that I forgot to mention is if this card is a PSA graded card and you click this open, it's actually going to show you the population count as well in this little card stats box, just like on the popular card charts. And if I expand this, you can see the same thing down here. I've got this other little icon to be able to put a note on each card if I want to. So if I open this up, you'll see that I could say, for example, I have this in box 3, row 2. I could put in here exactly where I have this card saved. If I come down here, I could say submitted to PSA via SCI's submission group on March 22, 2021. That way I can kind of just denote where the card is. You can put whatever you want in the notes. Whatever, qualitative information is valuable to you about that card, you can put it in here. I could say, got this for my first birthday. Not selling. Ever. So again, whatever notes you want to use, there's a lot of flexibility there. Feel free to take advantage of that, just like if you were in a spreadsheet typing out notes. Don't use spreadsheets. Now, one really cool feature that we haven't quite rolled out yet, but we will be in the coming 1 to 2 weeks. You might be asking, well, what if I put in a card as a manual card, and then you guys add it as a popular card later? How will I know that? We're going to be adding a feature called Sync Manual Cards, and basically you'll have a little button here, and whenever you come into your My Collection, you can click the Sync Manual Cards button, and it's going to prompt you. It's basically going to run whatever data you've stored about that card against our internal database to look for possible matches, and then you'll see a possible match from popular cards presented and have the option to check it, yes, that's my card, or X, no, that's not my card. And once you do that, it will merge all of the information that you've put in about the price you've paid and everything else, the date that you purchased the card. It's going to merge that all into a popular card, and from that date forward, it will begin tracking the price automatically for you. So I mentioned you can't track the price directly, or automatically rather, right now with a manual card. And the reason for that is if you've ever gone out to eBay's site, you have to have a very precise query to go and get that price accurately. Otherwise, you risk pulling back an inaccurate price. That's the work that we do when we add cards to popular card charts. So if we kind of tied this in and said to everybody, yeah, just pull in the closest price based on the data, trust me, you'd be getting more wrong prices. Most people would be getting more wrong prices pulled in, showing them inaccurate values than they would accurate prices. Just because there's so much nuance to a lot of these cards. So how do you quickly check on the price of those cards? You see this little chart icon. If you click on this and you go to chart this card, it's actually going to take you right to chart any card. It's going to fill in all the information about this card. And then you can come down here and scroll down, and you've got the stats right here, and it says most recent sale average 3 sales. It'll show you the last 14 average. You can scroll down and see what the last sale was. But look at this, all these sales from April 5th. If you come in here, you can see this is a raw card from the 90s. So one reason we don't add a lot of raw cards from the 90s is, and earlier, is condition sensitive. The prices can vary drastically. But let's say you just wanted to take this value as the average, $63. And you can come back over here and you can just click on this little icon. And then, very sadly, take this from $175 down to $63 and hit save. And what you'll notice is that it shows you the price that you last updated it. So it's really easy to come into here and quickly update the prices of these. All that I do is click on this little filter and do manual cards, hit OK, and then you can come down here and just go one by one, quick navigate to chart any card, check the price, come back, update it, you're good to go. Again, much faster than spreadsheets, much faster than typing in those searches every time on eBay yourself. It's really not as automated as popular card charts, but it has to be the next best thing. I should also point out that all of this data can be sorted. So you notice that I just used the filter. You can filter on these. You can come over here and filter on net value for positive or negative cards. That's really helpful if you want to know, okay, I only want the most, the cards that are doing well. And then you can sort each of these columns. So I like to come in here and just sort and say, well, which ones are worth, up the most right now? Whether you want to do that by dollars or by percentage, that might be an indication for you that you want to sell those cards. That's usually how I come in here and take a look at it. Now let's say that you need to add a new card. there's actually two different ways you can add cards to your collection. The first way is directly from this My Collection screen. And if you just click on Add Card to Collection, you're going to notice this little pop-up. And the first thing you should do is type in your card here. So let's say I've got this Saquon Barkley. It's his 2018 Prism rookie card, PSA 10. So I'm just going to type in Barkley PSA 10 Prism 2018 and hit enter. And you're going to notice I get all the different options. And look at all these options that we have in here for Saquon Barkley in our popular card charts. This is just his base card. So I'm going to click on base and click on next. And I've got quantity 1, purchase price. Well, let's say I paid $55 for this. I don't even remember the date, not too important. And I'm going to say that this is a long-term investment because I believe in Saquon Barkley. And don't worry, I'll get to categories in just a minute. Hit OK. And now if I scroll down, you can see that Saquon Barkley card has been added right to my collection, and it looks like it's doing pretty well compared to when I bought it, up $241. Now let's come back up here and say, okay, what about my Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of my favorite cards, my blank slate 2017 Court Kings. Let's say I don't find it in this card search. I can come here to add manual card, and all that I need to do is type in basketball, Giannis, let's do 2017. And note on here, this gives you the drop down. Always pick the lower year. That's how we set it up. So if it's 2017-18, just do 2017. Don't put any hyphens or anything. And then I'm going to put in Court Kings. Variation is blank slate. Oops. And really important here, try to keep this, as basic as possible, because when you use this to go out and look for the chart any card value, you don't want to be overly prescriptive so that when it checks eBay for that information, it's not going to find any results. For example, if you put in here case hit, or if you put in, SSSP, or however you want, just keep it simple. Put what it is, just like what the slab says, blank slate. And then this is a PSA 10, quantity 1. Now, this little section, if you're familiar with Chart Any Card, and again, go back and watch that video from a few weeks back, this is the same thing as the Chart Any Card screen. So if you know that there would be other terms that you need to refine your search, you're going to put those in here. So let's say that terms to exclude, let's just say, for example, I wanted to exclude 2019. You don't really need to do that, but I'm just giving you an example because 2019 also had blank slate. This is going to cover it, but put it in here, and then you can click next. Purchase price per card, I paid, let's say I paid $425 for this card, and I purchased it, I'm going to say I bought this back on November 3rd. Category, this is a PC card, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on Run Search, and it's going to take me to Chart Any Card to determine what the last sale on this card was, if any have sold recently. And what you can see is that it takes you here. Now I'll scroll down. I can see that 2 of these sold, one for $920, one for $990. Within a few weeks of each other. You can be conservative. You can go with the most recent sale, however you want to do it. I'm going to go with the most recent sale, and I'm going to say that this card is worth $990, and I'm going to finish. And again, if I scroll down, now you can see I have manual card, my Giannis Court Kings blank slate. Here's the value. Here's my net value. Very, very, very simple. So what if you want to add a card while you're looking at the charts? I'll show you how to do that as well. So let's say you're on popular card charts, and I'm just going to click on this Luka save search that I have for his Prism and base cards. All right, so let's say that I just purchased one of Luka's Prism silver cards. I finally got one. So I'm on this screen, and if you remember, I like to set a price alert. So, you can come down here, you just bought this card, $7,900. Let's say that I just bought it for $7,500. I'm going to click on Add to My Collection. I bought this card for $7,500. I bought it today. This is a long-term investment. Actually, let's say that I want to put this in a new category, and I'm going to say midterm investment. So I'm going to hold this as kind of an intermediate hold, if you will, and I'll say okay. And now you can see this little checkbox indicates this card is in your collection. And let's put a price alert on this. And let's put sell. And let's say that we want to sell this when it goes above $9,300. All in one step. I've got a price alert now to notify me when to sell. I've got it in my collection. If I come back over here, here it is, Lucas Prism Silver. It's up $400. So that's how you can add a card from popular card charts. What about a manual card? Same exact thing on the Chart Any Card section. Go to Chart Any Card, and let's say that I have this Penny Hoops rookie card, PSA 10. And what you're gonna notice here, so I'm gonna check the price, $74. Let's say that's the most recent price. When you run your search, this little button to add to my collection is gonna become illuminated. If you click on that, it's gonna fill in most of the details already for you, including the terms to exclude. Just select the sport. Now you see you've got the option to click next. I'm gonna say that I paid $30 for this. I don't remember when, it was sometime last year, so I'll just say a year ago. This is definitely a PC card as a penny. $74, finish. Again, very simple. This card is now in my collection as well. And there it is, Anthony Hardaway. And you can confirm this too. Let's say you came in here, click on this, you can see there it is. You can always search and filter again, reset the search. So let's say that I just sold a card and I want to mark it as sold. I come in here and you know what? My Saquon card, it was looking pretty good. And I don't know how he's going to come back from injury this year, but I'm going to take the profit and run on this card. Basically what you can do is you can come over here and you can click on this little edit icon. You can do the same thing by expanding the caret if you're over here. And then you're just going to click on this little mark card as sold. And I'm going to open this up and I'm going to say I sold it today. And let's say I sold this card for, let's say I sold it for $300. Let's say that my fees were $35. And again, you can put it in here, or if you have like multiple cards that you've sold and you know what the total was, you can put it over here. This was from my long-term investments and I sold it. Not so long-term. Maybe it was more than a year though. And then I sold it. So how do I view that now that I marked it as sold? You can see it adjusted all the statistics here. In order to view your sold cards, you just come up here to this little toggle. And now you can see the Saquon card that I just sold. I made $210 profit after my original purchase price and total fees are taken out of the total sales. Now sometimes people ask, how should I do fees? What about taxes? What about shipping? That's all very real expense. So when I buy a card, a lot of times what I'll do is if I buy a popular card, my purchase might become the most recent comp. So let's say I bought that card for $300. I have to put in 6% sales tax if I don't have a resale certificate in the state of Michigan, for example. So I'm going to have to put in $18 as my sales tax amount when I put that in there. So I'm going to put that I paid $318. And then maybe I had to pay $5 or $10 for shipping. Put it all in there. It's real expense. You don't want to be overstating your profit. You don't want to overstate your what you make or how much your portfolio is actually worth. And then when you sell the card, put in your fees, put in any applicable shipping that you ate if you listed the card for free. Whatever those true expenses are, you want to ultimately get to that real number of what you made on that card, which in this case, let's say was $135. So over here, you can see you've also got a chart option. We're actually going to be making some modifications to add a little bit more information to this chart. You're going to see day-by-day sales and then sort of a tracking within this time frame over time. So we are going to be making some improvements to this chart, but there is also a chart available on the sold screen. Now jumping back to the owned section, I did tell you I was going to talk about categories, and basically this is just a way for you to be able to categorize your cards. You can only add a card to one category right now. We're considering making it so that you can add cards to multiple, but this is a really simple way to just kind of categorize your cards. And you can see if I click on midterm investment, you can see my Luka card. It's going to update all the stats of those cards. This is really nice. If you click on PC, you can go, well, now I know that the cards that I'm not willing to part with, they do still have some value. And again, if you click on this one, this is a really nice one. It's really nice to put all of your cards into some kind of a category. So if you click on no category, it's just going to tell you, which ones are not in a particular category. And in order to edit that, you can click on this, you can put it in a different category. Let's call this a quick flip. Okay. And now it disappears from my view here. If I come over here to quick flips, you're going to see that the card is now in my quick flip category. So that's how the categories work. If you click on manage categories, you can always add a new category. You can delete them from this screen. You can edit the name of an existing category. So if I wanted to call this one interim flip instead of midterm investment and hit OK, now you can see that it has updated the name here to interim flip. Another great feature here is that at the top of this, you can view your portfolio by different, kind of different breakdowns or categories. So if I click on sport, you can see that I've got basketball. It's going to give you some summary information. This is, showing that I've got $10,000 in total value, $1,900 in net value. And then it shows you the same thing for your baseball cards, $925 in value. Doing a lot better on my net margin on baseball than basketball. Same thing by player, by year, by set, etc., etc., etc. You've got all this filtering. You've also got an option to download your portfolio to CSV. So if you want to do any kind of additional tracking, or you just want to save a copy, or you want to provide a copy to an insurance company for insuring your cards, you can do that. Click on download to CSV. It's going to download it to a CSV file format for Microsoft Excel or for Google Sheets. You can click on that and download it. I'm not going to do it, but that's how you can download your collection to CSV, both for owned as well as sold. Now, another great feature too is if you've got more copies to add to your collection. So let's say that, for example, you just picked up another one of these fast break Lukas. You click on this little plus sign, it just pops up an option to add another copy. So you can fill in all the details. Let's say I paid $55 for this, picked it up today. And I'm just going to say this is a PC one. And now it just added a second copy. So you can see there's, still showing the same value. And the nice thing here is now I've got one in my PC and I've got one in that quick flip category. So quick flips, PC, and it's showing the two as separate. So that's another reason why I like consolidating these. Something important to pay attention to, so that if you were on the all cards and you wanted to mark one of these as sold, that's why it's showing you the category as well when you open it up, so that you know which one I don't want to sell my PC copy. I want to keep track of that. Now, a few other features. Somebody says, hey, so I just got my raw Luka back from PSA. How can I convert it in here from raw to PSA 10? I got a 10 on my card. Well, right now, unfortunately, at this particular moment, you actually need to delete that record and then add it back as a PSA 10. And I'll tell you the quickest way to do this. Come over here and click on Chart This Card. And then click on Edit. Click on PSA 10. Rerun your search. And then just click on Add to Collection. And so let's say that you paid let's say you paid $75 express before PSA upped their prices, and the original purchase price on this was $55, so you're gonna have $130 in. I'm not gonna worry about the date or the category, but I'll hit OK. Collection item added. I'll close this screen, and then I just have to refresh my collection here. And now you will be able to see that I have the Luka Prism Fast Break PSA 10. So now if I expand this, I'll go and find the one that was $55. Oops. And I'll actually just delete this record. And now I've got the graded copy instead of the raw copy in my collection. Now this is just temporary. We are going to be changing this so that you can merge a raw card or convert a raw card to the proper graded one, so long as both of them are in the popular card charts that way. The last thing is, and this is a big one, mass import. People say, well, I already have my collection in a spreadsheet, in a CSV, in an XLS file. Can I just upload my collection somehow? And yes, we are, as of recording this video, in beta testing. It's very close to being done. It's going to be super slick. You do need to download our template. It's a very straightforward template. It's basically the same as putting the information into a manual card, format. So if you have your stuff already broken out into tabs by player and by year, you just take your spreadsheet, upload it in that CSV file format, and it's going to walk you through screen by screen saying, is this the card? Is this the card? Is this the card? If it finds a popular card match. If it doesn't, it'll take that data and it'll create manual cards from it, and you'll be completely done. So depending on how you want to manage that, you can only put your popular cards in and come back at a week later and try to update the rest of them as manual. You can do it all in one fell swoop, but that is coming, and it's going to be really, really slick for people who are new to market movers, or for people who have just been, still keeping track of bigger collections in a spreadsheet. You can put them right into My Collection that way. My Collection is specifically for cards, but we also have My Sealed Wax, and it works just like My Collection. It doesn't have charts right now, but you can see My Sealed Wax, very similar look and feel to My Collection. As you know, right now maybe My Sealed Wax is all manual. Again, another thing we're working on with our development team is popular wax. We'll be tracking wax prices just like we do popular cards, so that's coming in the near horizon. But other than that, this screen's going to work essentially just like popular cards does. All right, that about does it for My Collection. I hope that this is helpful. My Collection is extremely, extremely valuable. I take advantage of it regularly. It's so refreshing to come in here and see, okay, how am I doing? It's, I spent 25 grand. It's showing that it's worth 45 now. It's a really exhilarating feeling. You can come in and you can manage all the prices. You can add all the same features, add price alerts, add, more copies to your collection from all the different screens. So if you have any questions about My Collection, if you have any ideas, things that we're missing, leave us a comment down below. If you haven't already, please like this video. It definitely helps. Subscribe to the channel, smash that bell icon, and stay tuned next time when I'll be getting into price ratios.